Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It,
Pop culture edition.
and we forgot what we're doing edition.
Yeah, because we keep trying new things.
Yeah, we should
Bad
stop that.
bad idea. All right, are you ready to get into the rumors, the nastiness?
Yes, of
I've been
course.
trying to figure out how to spell that so that it can be our title. I'm like, should it start with a V? The
Yeah.
RH, the rumors,
Will people
the
just know?
nastiness. Her husband.
That
All right,
one's easy. H-A
yeah.
husband.
Husband,
Huh.
and I think
Husband?
nastiness with no
Uh-huh.
T.
Uh-huh.
Rumors is the hard one because at some point it's gonna be too far gone.
Yeah.
The rumors.
About
All
her
right.
husband?
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We'll start with tidbits. Season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Race premiered last week. Um, we open with Rue saying this season will be done a little differently. I was like, obvious, okay, every time. This is basically Big Brother,
Mm-hmm.
RuPaul's Drag Race, and at the time there were only 7 queens, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna have some kind of twist where 7 more come in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, RuPaul has lost her mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a peer evaluated system called Rate a Queen
Mm-hmm.
instead of a judges panel. Like the judges are still there, they give their critiques, but they don't vote. Um, so the queens rank each other from top to bottom, and the top 2 queens lip sync for immunity.
How would someone go home
There are
eventually?
still 2 bottom queens.
So then do the judges just pick?
So
I was confused because when I thought she was talking about the Raider Queen, I thought she meant like just for that episode, and then she is
maybe, I
all
mean, it's only the first
basically.
episode, but I thought that's what she meant by like this season's gonna be
Yeah,
different.
and they said it's been a long time since they've had this.
But I did wonder if the lip syncing for immunity was just the one episode because they
Or
don't
does
eliminate anyone.
does the person who wins like pick who goes home? That's a lot of
Maybe
power.
we don't know because no one went home, so
Mhm.
it's on right now.
Also,
Or
I have a critique for Rue. When you say rate, I was thinking like numbers.
yeah,
There,
rate and rank.
it's actually rank a queen.
That is my TikTok pet peeve
Yes,
when people are
yes.
like, "Help me rank my college outfits." 8 out of 10. No,
No.
that's not ranking. That's
Yeah.
rating.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You don't remember the Facebook days of like for a rating? Like for
Yeah.
me to rate you?
Our cousin does it. He's 13. He does it on his Snapchat.
Good to know it's still happening.
Yes. Um but so I don't really know. I do the Rate of Queen I do think is full season.
Okay.
I wonder if the top 2 lip syncing for immunity was just night 1 and we'll go back to the bottom 2 lip syncing for their lives because no one was eliminated on the premiere episode.
Yeah.
Um And interestingly, we went the whole episode with only the 7 queens and no announcement on if or when more will be coming.
Mhm.
I looked up the cast for season 16 and there were more people listed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they will be there. We
On
just have no
Instagram,
idea
yeah.
when or how.
On Instagram today, I saw they posted it and they were like the premiere continues,
Yeah.
and it was new people, which also that's not what a premiere is. You can't have two
Right.
premieres.
Um I think if you're binge watching it, it makes more sense,
Sure.
2-part
Just a
premiere.
two-parter. Yeah.
But a
A
week
week
apart.
apart? That's episode 2, baby.
Yeah. We have daughter of Candy Muse, Tsunami Muse,
Mhm.
And she is a good friend of one of the other contestants of season 16, Morphine. Personally, I am so excited for Dawn. I absolutely live for Crystal Method and Diabetes. So was already aware of Dawn, have been a big fan of Dawn's for a long time. I'm so excited she's on the show. I I do love Diabetes, but I think that Dawn's drag like more closely resembles Crystal Methods. It's a lot more like eccentric and like goofy and campy, and I think Diabetes
Mhm.
is more like edgy.
Yeah. I thought she was
But
like very similar to like Willow,
yes, I
and
agree.
I'm like very excited for that.
Yeah, I really like Dawn. She's so cute,
Mhm.
and yeah, I knew she was gonna be on the show already because I follow her already.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Okay, fine, Mary. You knew her first. We got it.
I love Dawn.
Um, this year's Golden Globes turned everyone in the whole world into expert lip readers. And honestly, like, I wasn't even mad. A lot of people were like, y'all don't know, like, stop. I loved the speculation. So, Selena Gomez was caught on camera having some serious tea filled girl talk with Taylor Swift and Kelly Teller. People thought that it looked like Selena said something about trying to take a photo with someone, but they said no. Then Kelly said what looked to be like Timothy, and Selena nods her head. So people believed that Selena may have asked Timothy Chalamet for a photo, and that either he or, more interesting would be, if Kylie Jenner had told her no. Since then, people from Selena's camp have denied that this was the conversation. People from Timothy's camp have denied that Selena asked him for a photo. And then she finally put all the rumors to rest when she commented on people's posts on Instagram saying, "No, I told Taylor about two of my friends who hooked up. Not that that's anyone's business." And while I totally agree that it's no one's business and people should not assume that their Instagram lip reading is fact, I do want to speculate just for a moment for funsies because I really do think like it looked like Kelly said Timothy.
Mhm.
So what if a friend of Selena's hooked up with Timothy Chalamet? That's probably not true. Probably she
Yeah.
either has another friend named Timothy or a name that looks something like that. But wouldn't
Jimothy.
that be interesting?
Genevieve.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm trying to think of names that look like Timothy.
If y'all are not on YouTube, the silence is strange.
Enemy.
And now they're enemies?
Mhm. Or she like your enemy, your very own enemy did that.
Yeah. There were also lip readings of Kylie and Timothy's conversation that were just funny. Like they were like trying to make it sound like he was like, "Do you like the smell of my burp?" And she was like, "Yeah, I love it." And they were more fun and not world shattering. All right, on to Rachel Goes Rogue premiered this week, and I listened, and I was entertained, I will say. So, what we learn, a few things that we kind of already knew, but we get to hear them again or for sure or whatever. So, Rachel says that the main reason she did not go back to Vanderpump season 11 is that she wanted to be away from Tom and wanted to cut him out of her life. She also says that she does not believe that the women would have given her an opportunity to tell her story. No,
They wouldn't.
no. But
Surprise.
she, but I did. But I did think it was interesting that she speculated that she also worried. Oh yeah, she didn't speculate that she worried, but she speculated if Tom would be able to get back in her ear and
Mm-hmm.
that she might not be able to resist that. Um, so I thought that was like a real moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that she didn't flush out for me, and I need more on it. She said that after their engagement broke up, her and James, they had a no contact policy, but that they had to work together.
But do you think she means like a no, like a legal no contact order, or like they agreed not to contact each other?
We literally start the season with like her going up to him in the bathroom, her bringing Graham around him. So it's like I don't know, even if it's not legal, like yeah, I didn't really know what it meant. Like I don't know. Unless like somehow in the no contact policy it was like except for when y'all are filming because that's your job. Like
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't get that. So anyway, she also talked about some rumors that I have not heard. I guess I live under a rock. So rumors had swirled at one point that Rachel might be dating Dave Portnoy, owner of Barstool Sports, and that she could be the reason that he and his girlfriend broke up. But mainly what she talked about was that when he denied it publicly, he denied it by saying that he would never date that trash bag.
Which is bold from the owner of Barstool Sports.
It is, yeah. And I mean, her, like, producer people were like, did that, like, wreck you? Like, how did that make you feel? And she was very, like, I'm not a trash bag, so no, why would it bother me? And I was like, okay, girl, good for you.
She's like, no, I literally like I'm a human.
I'm a
I'm
person.
not a heavy duty glad trash bag. Like it's like one of
Silly.
my kids the other day was crying, and I was like, what's wrong? And she said, he called me a snail. I said, well, are you a snail? And she said, well, no. I said, then drop it. You know you're not a snail. It's not like, come on, see the symbolism.
Mm-hmm. She then gave us some more information on the Graham debacle. So she describes Graham as being possessive and saying that he can sometimes switch into attack mode. She again accuses James of being not a good dog owner. She says that he would taunt him, kick him off the couch, which that's kind of what you do with dogs.
Right.
Sorry. And that he would encourage him to play bite him, which was what she claimed before. And we kind of said, like, I like get that, like, but I think it's more nuanced than she thinks. Like, sure, if your dog has a biting problem, it is probably not super wise to do
Yeah.
that, but I don't think it makes him like semi-abusive.
Right. Like I was gonna say, at the risk of somebody calling like animal control on me, those
Sure.
things sound fairly normal.
Yeah.
Like maybe like taunting, but
I
like
don't know what that
what does it
means
mean to
taunting
taunt a
him. Yeah.
dog? Right. And
Yeah.
so but like kicking your dog off the couch,
Unless she literally means kicking
playing
him,
I stick
but I
my
doubt it.
right. I stick my hands in my dog's mouth so much.
Yeah. And like
They love
again,
it.
I get it that like if your dog is like a dangerous biter, then like
Yeah.
it is good training practice to like not have them do that to you. But like it's also not like I don't know. I don't
Right.
she's like saying like James should never own a dog again in his life. And I'm like, I don't know. That's a little crazy. She also says, which could totally be true. She also says that when James would get angry and yell, which we know James Kennedy to do, especially if
Yeah.
he was drinking, that Graham would get very scared and would go hide under the couch, which is sad. Sad and
Yeah.
true.
It's sad but also like still normal.
Mm.
I think like I mean not I guess
Not
normal to
normal
like
that
be
James is
screaming
behaving
to
like
that
that.
degree, yes, but
Yeah,
like normal for your dog to be scared of like
loud
a loud
noises.
noise or confrontation.
Yeah, that says more about James and like how he treated
Right.
you than like how he treated the
Right.
dog. Um, she did talk a little about when her mom had to go to the ER for what she calls a gash on her finger from Graham biting her. It was apparently so bad that the doctor could not stitch it up.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I mean, like,
Was her finger off? Like, oh, we
well,
can't
like,
put
I
this
guess
back?
if, like, so much skin is missing that there aren't two
Oh, yeah.
things to put back together, then, like,
They
yeah.
got a graft.
She says that the doctor treating her mom had recommended that they put him down, which, yes, is what they're going to recommend. Um, Instead, they found a golden doodle rescue to take him and asked them to keep it confidential due to Rachel being a public figure. Uh, she did kind of say that, like, this choice was based on the fact that she, like, could either choose to stay in treatment for a little longer or would have to come home early to, like, take care of Graham. Um, Not that she would have to come home early to put him down, but, like, she didn't want to put him
Yeah.
down. So that's what they decided. That owner apparently returned Graham within 3 days. Another trainer had refused to work with him. So later, this rescue team needed to figure out where the fuck to take him. So they scanned his microchip, figured out that Rachel Leviss was the owner, then reached out to Vanderpump Dogs. Rachel says asking for a donation, and instead Lisa adopted him, which Rachel says was Lisa's, like, wanting to get a storyline. So, like, that's her first priority, and she, instead of just providing an adoption to help, or a donation to help him get adopted, she was like, oh, I'm gonna take him. Rachel does say, which is sad, that she found out that James had the dog on Instagram at the same time that the rest of the world found out that James had the dog, which sucks. That's her dog. Like,
Yeah.
Which she did. I didn't realize she apparently got Graham as like a, like, as like a graduation gift or something, like, for her. So
Yeah. I like, I know Lisa Vanderpump has copious amounts of money, but
yeah,
I think it's more monetarily sound to adopt a dog than donate to a dog rescue that is not your dog rescue when you have your own dog rescue. And that for someone who does have their own dog rescue and loves dogs, wouldn't it make sense for her to just take him in?
yeah, and, like, I think I get that, like, the frustration is that she feels like Lisa went behind her back and gave the dog to James, and, like, I get that. Unfortunately, you gave the dog up for adoption, so any shitty dog parent could have taken him.
Right.
Um, but also, I don't know that we can blame Lisa or anyone else on the show for not, like, after Scandival being like, I just really feel for Raquel and
Right.
I want to, I'll keep this dog till she's healthy and I'll get, like, no one's on your side. So, like, yeah, she gave it to James.
Yeah. I also wonder, like, personally, what would Lisa's donation do specifically for Graham
If
that would
another
help
owner is
him?
just going to turn him back in.
Like, cause like when you donate money to an animal shelter, they use it to fund like spay and neuter, like food, more like resources at the
Well, it
animal
could
shelter.
help with
Like,
training, but if
right.
trainers are
But
going to
like,
decline to work with him,
right. We've already seen that it's that bad.
right. Yeah, it didn't sound like the issues happening here were about funds.
Right.
Um, Before I continue, I'll interject with an apology because I already know I won't be able to edit all of this out. With me and Mary are both snotty girls tonight, so
Yeah.
um, she does say again, which we've heard from her before, that Lisa and production used Graham as bait to try to get her to come back to the show. Um, But like I said, the whole reason that her mom was watching him to begin with was so that she didn't have to leave treatment early. So she did say Lisa had said to her, like, oh, are you upset about me giving Graham to James? Well, come talk to me on the show. Oh, and you'll get to tell your story. And, like, honestly, do I doubt that about Lisa Vanderpump? Not
No.
at all. Like, I think she's right that Lisa's first priority is producing this show. Like,
Yeah.
why not? So
Yeah.
they then address Tom's recent claim on Tamra and Teddy's podcast that Rachel is the one that made the first move. And instead of like answering that, she says, well, let me just tell you the story and you decide who made the first move. And at the end of the story, you still don't know.
Yeah.
So she says that essentially they got to his house after that night at the Abbey. Um Ariana was upstairs sleeping, but he realized he forgot his key, so they went. Well, he invited her in for a nightcap, but when he realized he forgot his key, they went to the backyard. They got down to their skivvies and got into the pool. She luckily was wearing a corset top, so got down to her underwear and left her corset top on. Tom and his boxers. They were swimming and playing music out there, which I thought was bold. I mean, I don't know how loud, but I think still bold. Like all it would take is she looks out the window, my friend. So then apparently Tom picks her up, spins her around, and well, first he says, turn that down, picks her up, spins her around, and kisses her.
Girl.
And she did say, like, it's so embarrassing, but I, like, really loved it. Like, I thought it was so romantic. Then Tom starts, like, head in his hands, like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And so she says, like, I should go. And he's like, no, let's go back to your car and talk, which is where they fuck. And, yeah, that was it. That's the story we got. I don't know, because it's like, it was her idea to get in her underwear, but he's the one that kissed her. But she's the one, I don't know, that said let's go talk. I don't know. So
Yeah.
everyone made moves. She did also say, which is interesting, that she did come clean to one friend right after. And that friend did encourage her to tell Ariana. Obviously didn't work. But she did not say who this friend was or what their connection to the Vanderpump group is. So that's what we've got. And now you don't have to listen. You're welcome.
Yeah. And like, let's be honest, she's not gonna talk about it. I feel like she can't talk about it forever, so
Yeah.
we're good.
I
We
mean,
don't need to listen to anything else.
yeah, they did say, like, I honestly, like, am interested in, like, the next parts, like, the part about, like, how she went and saw Ariana again,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um,
Because she went and saw her
so,
the next day.
yeah. So I'm like, how was that, like, first facing her after that? But yeah, you're right. Like, eventually it's gonna become not about Scandal, and it's gonna just be like about her life, and I don't care about her life.
Yeah.
So
She's like, she went that one time she went rogue by changing her name to Raquel in the first grade.
Yep.
On to more interesting people.
Yes. On to Salt Lake City, the nastiness.
You want me to go there? The Rooomaaaz? The Nassiness? I can
I
go
think
there.
it's so funny when they cut to that part at the table where they're like, "Did she have a British accent for a second?" Yes, she did. So, part one of the reunion is bringing me back to Vanderpump Rules, when we all want to talk about only one thing, or in this case, two things, because we also want to talk about the black guy. But we have to get through all this other bullshit from the season that at this point is irrelevant.
Right.
However, much like VPR, no one can really help themselves but to keep reminding Monica who they now know that she is. Listen, we don't give a fuck about Lisa's ring anymore if you're Reality Von Teese. Like,
Yeah.
moving along.
Did we give a fuck about Lisa's ring in the first place?
No.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't get to see inside the burn book yet, but we do receive some receipts from Meredith and Heather.
Meredith's
So
receipts are so
Meredith sits
weird.
down with a whole ass purse.
Uh-huh.
A mom purse, not like a cute, like going out on the town club purse.
Or like a cute little mini.
Yeah, a mom purse.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Cohen is like, what the fuck is that? It is full of articles, transcripts, and notes, which
Mm-hmm.
she uses several times to combat Angie
Yeah.
on a lot of things.
What a strange fight. I
Yeah.
thought it was so weird, so honestly cringy. They play back her whole the rumors, the nastiness
Yeah.
monologue. And then she says, "No, I can tell you exactly what I said." No, we just watched
Right.
it. What? And then she just
Yeah.
reads it again and I'm like, "Yep, so that's what we just watched." And Andy's like, "Right. So the husband thing still sounds like it's about her marriage."
Yeah.
And like,
I'm guessing she means there's some kind of like Jen Shaw type of rumor
I
about
think she means
Angie's
that it could
husband.
be. I
Right.
don't.
Like, oh, it's not necessarily about her marriage. It could just be about
Yeah.
him being
Yeah.
shady.
I think she means like, I didn't give any details away. It wasn't till Monica that anyone knew it was about like a possible affair and stuff. I just said about her husband. But the thing is that Sharif, like Sharif's marriage is still affected by Jim Shaw's crime. So like to
Right.
pretend that like something about his wife, like if it's about your partner, it's about your marriage.
Yeah.
If what's his name? Sean? He's so useless.
Sean.
If Sean's out there committing crimes, like that's still gonna affect Angie's marriage.
Especially because they're also business partners.
Right.
Um, Heather asks Monica if she became an assistant to be like Kim Kardashian. And Monica's like, no, no, I didn't. And Heather immediately whipped out an audio recording of Monica saying she wanted to be an assistant to be like Kim Kardashian.
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, and audio recordings. I was like cracking up because Heather really did have me going.
She said, oh, really?
When she
Can I
asked,
show
like
you something?
I didn't think it was obvious at all. Like she was just like, "Did you ever like think maybe you could end up like Kim Kardashian?" And how does Monica not hear that and go, shit. I did literally say that.
She don't remember shit she said.
I know, but she's got to know that her Tanisha has sent all of her audio recordings by now, right? Now, in the recording, Monica says, it doesn't get clearer than this, my friends. She says, Kim Kardashian was a fucking assistant, and look at that bitch now. I can fully admit that the whole reason why I was an assistant and putting up with that shit was as a stepping stone.
Girl.
Nothing is blurred. Nothing. Angie K's just sitting over there, chuckling along and adding some occasional peanut gallery comments, which prompts Monica to call her a bench-warming bitch, which I must say was really good TV.
Yeah. Here's
Also,
the thing.
I feel out of the loop because Instagram, or my Instagram, maybe my algorithm's fucked, loves Angie K. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't
wait.
get it. I feel like regardless of if she's shady or sketchy for being reality Vontees, it's not like a Scandival level like situation to where I don't want to see her on my TV anymore. Like, because she does make good TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoy watching her. I feel like they're setting up Mary Cosby to come back as a housewife, and I feel like if that happens, then it's very possible Monica will remain a housewife. Um, and they'll just be in their own little world separate from everyone else. I also like have a hot take on Monica because Reality Montees stopped posting in 2022. And so like I feel like it's very possible that she got what she wanted out of the account and Jen Shaw being arrested, and was like in a separate part of her life when she got on the show, but then we find out like how she got on the show, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
she's kind of the same.
Yeah.
I'm learning more about. That was my hot take after the finale, but after the reunion, I'm like, maybe not. But I
I
would
think
still
like
watch her.
I would watch her on like House of Villains,
Yeah,
like something like that. I frankly don't want to see her with these ladies again.
yeah,
But I think like I very quickly have learned to like love or have come to love the Salt Lake City Housewives. And so like I just am like sad for them that their
yeah,
group got infiltrated like that. And I agree that perhaps there could have been a different path for her if she went to them and she said, "Hey, I did this. I'm about to join your show, but I want you to know that I was a part of the Reality Montees page, but I stopped in 2022. It was just about getting justice to Jen Shaw, whatever." I think the problem is like that she like lied to all their faces for
yeah.
the whole season, but also I don't know that it would have mattered if she told the truth because she said so many bad things about them.
Right.
And so I just, to me, like, yes, maybe her as Reality Montees isn't as bad as it could be, but I don't think she needs to be around these women anymore. I don't think
Yeah.
they need to be around her, you know?
And I don't think they will be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And now it did, an audio did surface of her saying some shit about Mary. So I don't know if that is like recent and all of Mary's defending her will stop,
Yeah.
or if Mary knew the things she said about her but was just like, oh well.
Yeah. We do get like a soft side of Monica in the start of the reunion. She opens up about how hard it has been to be a whore. Her words, not
Mm-hmm.
mine.
Mm-hmm.
Before and after the show. Like saying that before the show, like people who knew about her and her brother-in-law were talking about it all the time. And after the show, now it's reached a different level where strangers can comment on her social media and say things. And Whitney kind of like leans over and is like, like I admitted first episode that having an affair is how I met my husband, and that her comment section was also nasty. And to be honest, when Whitney first leaned over and started talking, I thought she was like trying to be snarky. Like, oh, you don't like mean comments and rumors about you online? Well, neither did we when Reality Von Tease did it. But she was like being genuine, like, oh yeah, it sucks. And I was like,
Yeah.
Whitney, this is your moment.
Mm-hmm. I yeah, I agree that it was genuine, but I also kind of am like proud of her that all of us still understood that
Yeah,
secondary message, even if Monica didn't receive it, which it kind of looked on her face like she did. Um, I think all of us, and then Whitney comes out being like mature, but also like proving that point, you
yeah.
know?
Whitney also said at this time that she and Justin are doing much better on the show. Like, I didn't feel like it was like a big thing that they were like having problems, but
Mm-mm.
like they were just in like a transitional period because he had just started going back to work and their schedules were different. But
Yeah.
that they're like much better now. And then apparently, I guess he's been wearing his wedding ring. He's been wearing a ring on a string.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she says that he stopped wearing it because it got too tight. She basically calls him fat on TV. Um,
She was so hesitant too,
yeah,
but
she's
she
like,
was like, "It's
yeah,
totally fine, but
he is big.
my man
Um,
is a big man."
yeah, she said that his wedding ring got too tight, which in the world of Salt Lake City's 1% seems silly when he could definitely pay to get it resized.
Yeah.
And like, I know it's not a priority for everyone, but like, maybe
If it's
if your
enough that
wife is
you're
a
bringing it up at the
housewife,
reunion,
right? If your
yeah.
wife is a housewife and people are gonna notice, maybe it's worth just paying to get it resized. Like
Or just
I,
say I don't care.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
got
if you
my wedding
care,
ring resized because the one that came in was like a size too small. It's like $200,
mm-hmm,
like at the most.
yeah, maybe
You'll be
not for their
fine.
rings.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's
but
different.
like
Yeah,
but like what a the
but
ring
they're spending
itself was
thousands
like
of dollars on like
right.
outfits.
Like if the ring itself like I'm talking I guess I'm like thinking of like the percentage of
Sure.
the
Yeah.
yeah, cost.
Yes.
Um so sorry. Evidently, a rumor was also going around online that Monica had stolen Lisa's ring in Palm Springs. I was like confused by this because I was like, Lisa went over several times how she lost that ring. Like, we know how she lost it, but I guess the idea is that Monica picked it up and stole
Mm-hmm.
it. Monica said that she had thought Lisa had started the rumor, and Lisa said that she did not start it, but that she did believe it.
Yeah, Monica's like offended because Heather and Lisa are like, we didn't say it or like reposted or anything. And she's like, well, but you didn't make public statements to say it's not true.
Yeah,
Why
no,
why would they do that? And they said, because we didn't know it's not true. We don't
right.
necessarily believe it's not true. Why would they trust you?
Also, we don't like you.
Yeah.
I like if someone I didn't like was publicly accused of something and like that's not like very serious and I like didn't know for sure if they'd done it, I wouldn't rush to their defense. I don't like
No.
them.
No.
Um Monica said that the whole thing felt like stereotyping and they like asked her like why and I felt like I was sure what she was going to say and she's like cuz I'm less wealthy than everyone else and I was like that's not what I thought you meant. I don't think that that's stereotyping. um, but okay. That people who can afford Zara, Michael Kors are stealing things is
Mhm.
not a stereotype.
Mm.
Um, so then Lisa opens up about the sentimental value of the ring because that was like a point of contention on the show was that she was making it about the money. And basically, she says that it was like a push present kind of from John after Henry's birth, during which they almost lost Henry. Monica tells her like that information would have completely changed her tune, but instead, during the Palm Springs trip, they were constantly being reminded of the price of the ring, which I agree. I think, especially when Lisa got so upset because Monica was calling her materialistic and a piece of shit, and she kept saying, "Well, it's about the sentimental value," and she's like, "But you keep mentioning the price,
Mhm.
like maybe not when you're heated, but even like saying like it's a gift I got when my son was born, like she just kept saying it's from John, it's $60,000, and Lisa says that she didn't share that because it was personal, which like you don't have to share the whole story to defend yourself
But you
that it's
did share the
the
price.
price. I
Right.
only said it 3 times. Girl, that's 3 times too many.
Also, roll the tapes.
Yeah.
That's not true. Yeah, on the one hand, like, sure, Lisa does not have to share something personal like that. But you do not get to be offended when someone misunderstands something because you did not give them all the information. Plus, it's not like you could have just cried about the ring, talked about the ring over and over again. It would have been annoying, but people would have just been like, huh, I wonder why she's so worried about that ring. And you could have just said it has sentimental value. But
Yeah.
because the only thing we heard was the price, which, sure, maybe it was just like a fucking space filler. I don't want to tell them the real reason I'm sad about this ring, so I'm just going to say the price. But, like, it's not for Lisa.
Right. No.
Lisa loves to
Uh
tell us the
she
prices of things.
she's the richest one in the group.
Mm-hmm. I think Mary
Um,
Cosby would beg to differ.
my one of my friends was telling me yesterday that they left their Stanley on the playground at school, and when they went back to get it, it was gone. And she was like, "I'm just so like upset. Like someone like took my Stanley," and she's like, "And I know it's like a cup and it's not a big deal, but like I personally feel like if I knew or suspected someone had stolen anything from me, like regardless of the value, I would be kind of sad. Or if I lost something, like with any kind of value to me, I would be upset. So like I don't think it needs to be about the like price of it. I think like I like I lose one earring. I keep losing one Kendra Scott earring out of all of my pairs of earrings. I keep losing just one. It makes me so mad because like I want it. I bought it. I like it. Like it's okay to be mad because you lost something without it being about how much it cost or why you got it even. Like
Yeah.
you can just be sad that you lost something that you own.
Mhm.
Um Monica confirms what we already knew about her relationship with Jen Shaw, that they had become friends. Um, and then Monica became one of her assistants, and she's like, well, they like asked her like about it, when she became friends, and she's like, it was before like she was even on the show, before the show even aired, and then I became her assistant.
Mhm. Yeah, the way she makes it sound is like that she was running those errands for her while they were filming season 1.
Yeah,
So, it sounded to me like from the finale that Monica had started the Reality Von Tease account, which obviously wouldn't start until the show has started. Um, and these people are famous, and then reached out and befriended Jin. So, which we had said last week, like that's like kind of the worst part of the whole
yeah,
story. So I guess this is better if
yeah.
true.
I still think though, I honestly think it's weirder that you would DM Jen Shaw and like ask to be friends before she was a housewife. Which like I get that like I don't live in Salt Lake City, so I don't know these women's like reputation, but like
Mm,
just being like, yeah, I think I just want to be buddy buddy with some random ass rich woman.
yeah,
See where it takes me. Um, but
yeah.
so she also admits that she was never paid for her work as Jen's assistant, but she didn't mind at the time because it felt like she was just running errands for a friend who needed support. To which I say, if you weren't being paid, that is exactly what you are doing.
Mhm.
Bold statement to give yourself a job title.
Mhm.
That would be like if I claim to be working as a therapist because I listen to my husband talk about things that bother him, or that I am a vet because I give my dog treatments on her paws, like when she gets a
Mhm.
sunburn or something. Like, just to be like running. I mean, like, I guess like the consistency of it, sure, but like if you're not being paid,
Yeah.
you are essentially just running errands for your friend.
Yeah, I wonder if Jin had like started to call her her assistant, but was like, but if she's not gonna ask me to pay her,
Yeah.
like, whatever. But it is so fucking wild to me that you're spending your time, you're unpaid, so like you're losing money and you're losing your time when you have 4 fucking kids.
Right.
Like, what? Go home.
Crazy. Yeah. She said that she never formed her relationship with Jin with the intention of getting on the show, but if she could get on the show, why would she not try? I think that we like talk about this a lot with like Bachelor Nation, like when it gets brought up, like so and so says something about being the Bachelor, and we talk about like that shouldn't be like your intention with getting on the show, but if it comes across as like a second thought, like, hey, I could,
Yeah.
if this doesn't work out, I could be the Bachelor. I think, like, it's that kind of thing, like, maybe I'll be on the show sometime because I hang out with this
Sure.
woman.
But did you want to be Jen's friend because you like Jen or because you
Right.
knew that would open that up? And I think, like, yeah,
I
about The
don't believe
Bachelor, like,
her.
it would be disingenuous to say, like, just started and you might be able to hear it, so I'm
I
going to say
didn't.
that again. Okay. It would be disingenuous to go on a show like The Bachelor and then say, like, I have never even once considered that I might get a large following on social media, that I might
Right.
be able to become the Bachelorette. That's stupid. If
Right.
if you didn't think of that, that's stupid.
Of course you
So I
did.
mean, like, sure, once she was friends with Jen, I think it's fine, just like Angie H did, just like Angie K did, just like every other friend that they've ever had on the show probably thought, huh, I wonder if I'll make it on. Um, yeah, I think that's fine. But we
Yeah.
also
I
know
don't
she quite
believe
literally
her.
no, and she quite literally said, I can fully admit that the reason I'm assistant is as a stepping stone.
Yeah. She
But
claimed, which I think this tears her case down to put into the world that you auditioned, like, submitted yourself to be on this show. And Angie K's over there like, I was referred. Like, I got
yeah.
referred. Someone asked for me to be on the show. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have copped to that. But she says that she sent an email to casting suggesting they put her on the show. And she then says that she told them in the email that their ratings sucked and that the show was going to get canceled if they didn't cast her. Andy's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, did the ratings suck? Were they going to get canceled? And then they show the email, and what she actually said was, you need a fiery Latina who is excommunicated. I think that's a great argument.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes a lot of sense. However, it's not the same
Mm-mm.
as saying your show's about to get canceled.
Mm-hmm. And she literally says, like, I'm responding to your casting call.
Yeah,
You need a fire, like, that's the whole email.
right.
And it's like,
It was actually, like, very friendly.
yeah. Also, their ratings did not suck. You think that, like, after fucking Jen Shaw was sent to prison,
Right.
people weren't gonna maybe after season 4 they might have sucked, but you don't think people weren't gonna tune in to see, like, I wonder what they're all gonna do without Jen Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this proves that, like, this is just someone who lies to lie. Like, you knew that they have access to that email and that they could just put it on the screen. So, like, why? And I'll
Yeah.
believe anything you say.
Yeah. Um, Monica also explains that she called the FBI to, like, it was after Jin had been arrested. She called the FBI to, like, report what she knew about Jin, and that basically said that the other women should be ashamed that they didn't do the same thing. Um, this is how
Which,
she
of course,
became a witness.
yeah. But of course, they are at least sticking with the story. They don't know anything.
Well, and I think that,
They
like,
weren't her assistant.
she was like, I believe I did the right thing, and I think everyone else in this room should have done the right thing too. I think that's a fair point.
Sure.
However,
If
they
they knew.
weren't within the same access to Jin as she was. And, like,
Mhm.
to be
She
honest,
alleges that Lisa was. Like, she's made, like, a lot of comments kind of insinuating that Lisa knows more. And then
yeah.
Monica says that she
And they
talks to Lisa
might,
a lot. Sure. But, like, then say that. Then come with the
right.
receipts and say, Lisa, I know you knew.
Well, and, like, and it's very possible that the other women knew, but like, they weren't her assistant, and so, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to believe, especially because her co-conspirators were her assistants, that it's harder to believe that Monica wouldn't have known than
Right.
just Jin's friends wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we also, like, ending on a cute note. We learn that Lisa and Meredith and Whitney and Heather are friends again, but all of their relationships are, like, not the same as they were before they had their falling outs. And they kind of said, like, we can't go back to how it was because of things that have unfolded since then, but which I think is personally I think is silly for Whitney and Heather. I think that their
Yeah.
fight was nowhere near Meredith and Lisa's. I don't think Meredith should be friends with Lisa personally,
Yeah.
but I think that but they said that like they're kind of building like a new kind of friendship, each of them, and that they're like really happy with where they're at, which is great.
Yeah, so just thoughts of things that I've seen online since, like mostly today. Um, I have opinions about Monica's narrative now, I guess. So she has now posted that people believe that the reason for her divorce was this 18-month affair and that it was not the
The
reason for
first
her
time.
divorce. No, I mean she's saying like we got divorced because of physical abuse by my husband and that I wanted to share that on the show and like really draw attention to it and I couldn't understand what she like why she's saying she didn't share it on the show. Like, did she share it but they cut it out? Did they tell her we just want to talk about the brother-in-law thing? Like, I'm not really clear on like how she's a victim in that. Like, you could have
Mm-hmm.
just told that story. Um,
Not saying how she's a
yeah,
victim in the abuse, to
how
clarify,
she's a victim like by
of not being allowed
production.
to
Yeah,
share her story.
like you balls to the wall were like brother-in-law, 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 and like
Right.
we never heard anything about Mike. In fact, I think we heard good things about Mike. Like she was like, I'm still on fine terms with my husband. Like I don't know, or my ex-husband. So, but then she also posted something else where people were asking her about like this weight loss she's had,
Mm-hmm.
and that like she must be on Ozempic, and she has said like, no, I've lost 20 pounds as if that's like so dramatic. But I've lost 20 pounds because of my divorce, because of like stress from the show, and like is basically blaming like all of these factors in her life right now, which like I'm not doubting that like that could totally lead to weight loss, but again, like I just feel like Monica wants us to feel very sad for her
Yeah.
all of a sudden, and I'm like I am like fine admitting that like Monica's probably going through a pretty hard time right now and has probably gone through some pretty hard things before. But like taking to Instagram right after and just like constantly posting about how sad everything is, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Is she
I'm not
saying
about it.
both of the times they got divorced was for that reason?
I don't know. I mean it only referenced one, but I do know it was twice. Okay. I have received several questions about my divorce. Yes, the affair happened over a decade ago. No, that is not the reason for our divorce. I understand you all having questions and trying to figure out the reason for the divorce now. I've debated answering this publicly or not. However, when I did apply to be on the show, I had planned on bringing awareness to this subject and speaking about it openly. So it sounds like you weren't debating,
Right.
saying it publicly. Another subject which was discussed several times along with others that wasn't shown in the email that was shown on last night's episode. The reason for our divorce was because of domestic violence. My ex was arrested a couple times for domestic violence on me in front of our girls and violations of protective orders. I had hoped to speak about it on the show to help better explain why things are the way they are in my life currently, to bring awareness to women dealing with this issue, and to help them see that they are not alone. I hope anyone going through this issue knows that I am with you. I hope you see that you can move on from this horrible situation and begin to give your children a better life away from those circumstances. There's life after abuse. It wasn't your fault, and you have tribes of people ready to carry you through. So she doesn't say, I had hoped to speak about it on the show. Why didn't
Because I
you?
know, like, the
Who was stopping you?
statistics, like, show that,
Yes.
like, um, victims of domestic violence, like, go back to their partners. But, like,
7 times. Yeah,
yes. But,
on
like,
average.
there's something about, like, getting fully divorced and getting back together and getting remarried and having another kid that feels like,
There must have been two separate reasons.
well, yeah, like it feels like less like just like can't stay away.
Mhm.
Like to go through like the full divorce process
Mhm.
and then to fully get married again. It just feels like
Yeah.
very like it feels like you really fully got out.
Yeah, and I think the two divorces thing, like, I don't really have an opinion on. Like, they could have been young when they first got together, got a divorce, then she thought, oh, he won't do it again because we were young. Like, she's still pretty young, and they have 4 kids, so, like, they probably were pretty young when they got married.
Mhm.
Um, so, like, that doesn't, like, it, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, she doesn't say which divorce, and
Yeah.
she has said multiple times, we got divorced twice. So, I don't know, um, or, like, was him finding out about the affair like a contributor to violence.
Yeah.
So like she doesn't, which is totally fair, but like so then she doesn't cite the affair as the reason for the divorce. She
Yeah.
cites the violence, which would be totally like would be her
Yeah.
reason.
And then
I
that
don't
kind
really
of
know. I
makes me
just can't
think
figure it
like
out.
maybe she thinks they both have things to reconcile,
Sure.
like he
Maybe.
like maybe like I you know what I'm saying, like maybe she's
Uh-huh.
like I also did something wrong,
So
like we
we can
both
try
work on
again and do, yeah.
ourselves and we try again. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It just she posted this to like make all this clarity, and I feel like it's still fucking vague.
Yeah.
Like, what are you? I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. All
Domestic
right.
violence is bad. Let us be
Yes.
clear. I just am questioning Monica now that we know she's reality Vonti's.
Mhm. um let's move on to more bad men.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Southern Charm reunion part 1. um Not Shep staging his own intervention and then deciding that he's probably going to keep drinking anyway.
Yeah, the blue
What the
balls.
fuck did I sit through? I feel like what you said about like it being on one topic and the one topic was Shep. And he's the one that brought it up.
Yeah, but it's
Like
not
I
like the
feel like
topic we
we
were
dragged
expecting.
on, right, like we dragged um on with him for so long
But I think
for
the
no reason.
BravoCon, yeah, I think the BravoCon incidents must have been very fresh on their
Yeah.
minds. So,
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, basically Shep spends the whole first half of the reunion making sure it's all about him for various reasons. Beginning by gaslighting Taylor, saying that if they hadn't been on the show together, they would be married by now. He's realizing he has regrets, blah blah blah. It's like kind of excruciating to watch.
yeah. It was so sad to watch her um like get very affected by him saying those things, and then like we find out right after that she has a boyfriend at that
Yeah.
time, and so it's like she like so wants to be moved on, but like even when Andy says like that's a look of like love, hate, regret, she's like,
Yeah.
yep, all of it.
Yeah. Um Andy reveals that Shep pulled him aside backstage and asked if he could have the floor at some point to discuss something serious. And basically, what he wants to discuss is that he was blackout drunk the whole BravoCon weekend, that everyone else in the cast was like taking care of him and like trying to like help him be presentable, and he was just like not coherent.
Mm-hmm.
um and that it like really scared him. I thought they were gonna like that there was gonna be like an incident or something, the way they were
Right.
talking about it, and he was like, well, I don't remember what happened. And
Okay.
like, but it scared me so much. And then Andy's like, what happened is you were drunk, and he was like, yes. And I was like, what?
Okay, but Billy says he thinks this was metaphorical, which it probably was, but then Craig starts saying something about like, well, we've all been in cars before with people who have been recklessly driving or who have been drinking. And I don't I don't
Interesting.
yeah, so I couldn't tell. And then obviously him and Austin were saying that like they haven't really talked to Shep since BravoCon. So I couldn't tell if that's what
Yeah.
Craig was saying, but then no one, like, Andy didn't say, like, are you saying he was driving or, like, whatever. But also, I feel like Andy was hinting because Shep was like, I can't keep doing this if I still want to do blank and blank and blank. And Andy
Right.
was like, or if you still want to do this. And Shep kind of turned it around and was like, right, like I have to consider if this is a healthy environment for me. But I think what Andy was saying was like, we can fire you.
Right.
If
I
you are going to come to watch
especially
what happens live and Austin's
right.
going to have to help you stand up, or you're going to assault Taylor and not remember it, or perhaps you were driving other cast members around drunk, we can fire you.
Right. I also thought that, especially in the context of BravoCon.
Right.
Um, but Shep says that he wants to change because it really scared him. So he's going to stop drinking liquor and taking shots.
Imagine being in your 50s and saying, I should stop taking shots now.
Yeah. They basically all say he needs to stop drinking entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Craig, who has says he has mostly stopped drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that it's been so like beneficial to him, and he knows it could be beneficial to Shep. Um, and Shep says to stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
I'll think it over.
I liked Vanita's little like, because she wasn't gonna speak until she was
Mm-hmm.
asked, and Andy just asked what she thought, but she's like I'm very proud like of you being vulnerable. She's like, in my opinion, like I think you should stop drinking, and he was just like
Yeah.
received.
I
But
like a side note real quick about
mm-hmm.
the reunion. I was so shocked to see Leva because I did not realize she was a cast member this season.
I didn't think she was.
I thought she was off of the show.
Yeah, I did not think she was a cast member this season. I thought she was like a Vanita friend.
Right. I was shocked. But good for her, you know.
Yeah. It was so cringy watching JT think that he was doing something with all of his Austin jabs. Like, he seems obsessed. Like, it's annoying. Like, stop. And
Yeah,
Andy had to say to him, like, we're a minute in, JT. We're 1 minute in. Like, chill out.
right. He had every single thing he wanted to say about Austin. Had to have written it down. Had like memorized it. He was preparing for weeks. It was
Mm-hmm.
insane. Um, Taylor made a snide comment about how Olivia needs to forgive as she wants to be forgiven,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
And so it's revealed that Olivia slept with Thomas 5 years ago. And to me, that is a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City level reveal.
Yeah, I think it would be if it hadn't already been alleged last season. But I will say I had definitely forgotten that it was alleged
Yeah,
last
I did
season.
not know that they alleged it, or I didn't realize they had alleged it last season until they showed it back. And I was
Yeah,
like, what?
I remembered it after they showed it, but I certainly like wasn't on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. He said Thomas Ravenel, like
Yeah.
Andy being like, "What?" But also like Taylor, you actually gonna try to pretend that's the same thing
Yes.
when you were Olivia's number one bestie? Her and Catherine are not besties.
It's
Well, they
giving
were not besties.
it's giving Rachel being like, everyone here has cheated.
Right. Yeah. Since then, so they might be besties now.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine has posted on Instagram pictures of her and Olivia, not Taylor, of her and Olivia. saying, "We've never been closer, you did nothing wrong, and don't need to worry about being judged by me." And that's nice. I can
Yeah.
just never tell what's strategic for
Yeah.
Catherine. Um, but it was seeming this way in final seasons, and it seems this way now that she's like finally able to see who Thomas is and to like honestly recognize that like anyone who's having sex with Thomas, especially like young women who are having sex with Thomas, are being preyed on by him and not like just trying to fuck her over and like
Mhm.
trying to be like steal your man, you
Right.
know?
Olivia, I don't know how old Olivia is. I think she's closer to Taylor's age
Mhm.
than Catherine. And we also have to think about Catherine was 21 when she
Mhm.
got together with Thomas. And I think Olivia is saying she was around the same age.
She said she was right out of college, so she would have been
And
22-ish.
they did not know each other at the
Mhm.
time. Um, but yeah, like I mean, it fits so perfectly the pattern we've seen of his,
Mhm.
and like, and she said, I cracked up when she said, "Who wouldn't be ashamed of that?" Because
Mhm.
I don't think she meant sleeping with my friend's man. She
No.
meant sleeping with Thomas Ravenel is shameful.
Yeah. She said I wanted to take that to the grave. Who wouldn't?
I was like, yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
would too.
Yeah.
Um, but you know,
You should have.
yeah. I look. Taylor's had a big mouth this whole stint on this show. I know they were besties, but I wouldn't be telling her shit.
Mhm.
Um, we find out, as you mentioned, that Taylor has a boyfriend now. She is dating Gaston, who they say it like we all know who he is.
Yeah.
He is very occasionally featured on Southern Hospitality, never with like a speaking moment, just like
Mhm.
random shots of him because he's
Mhm.
TJ's roommate.
She said he's TJ's roommate, and I was like, oh my god, she just fucked up JT's name.
Yeah,
It's
I
embarrassing.
watched Southern Hospitality and I was like, who the fuck is
Yeah.
TJ?
We're like almost caught up, but yeah, like even Andy had to go like, you mean TJ from Southern Hospitality?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because she's also sometimes featured on Southern
yeah.
Hospitality because she's closer in age to those people.
Yeah, and she's hanging out with them and stuff.
Right. And she can do her day chaser thing over there.
Yeah.
But speaking of Southern Hospitality, here's what happened on that show last night. I honestly hate that we have left the Madison and Trevor drama in the dust for right now because I feel like nothing's happening. But
Maddie?
yes, what did I say?
Madison?
Oh, well,
I was like,
maybe
damn
that's
her government name.
Madison? No, yeah, Maddie and Trevor. Which they've previewed that we're coming back to it soon, but
Okay.
come on. So Jill Bradley invites Sally over for a home cooked meal and asks her, "Will you accept this chicken parmesan?" Which, in my opinion, got glanced over way too quickly. That was such a good joke. There was no appreciation for it, and they have still not mentioned that Sally was on The Bachelor.
Yeah. So that's probably why the joke flops.
Yeah, because everyone's like, haha, he's making a Bachelor reference. No, because she was on it. It's so
Yeah.
funny. She thought it was hilarious. Um, then we like skedaddle over to Mia and TJ having a little girls' night. Um, and TJ tells Mia that Sally had made out with Gaston the
Whoa.
same day, even though she told Joe on their date that she had worked all day. Which, in my opinion, is bold because he is her manager.
Mhm.
So, couldn't he find out whether or not you worked all day?
Yeah.
Um, Also, they're a nightclub.
They're open during the
And
day.
I know, but like, I don't know. She's a host. She's like the hostess. Does she work all day?
It looks like they have a host standing there all
Okay,
day.
whatever.
But
Um,
but you're right that like less staff would be required during the day. So if you were working during the day, that
right.
might be on Joe Bradley's radar a little more.
Um, then she apparently had a date with Gaston like the next day and told him she didn't want to date Joe Bradley, even though she had asked him to be her plus one to her best friend's wedding
Oof.
at his apartment. So again, like bold moves.
Mm-hmm.
Your best friend's wedding in which you are a bridesmaid, and he's got to sit by himself and meet your
Maybe that's
best
mocking.
friends.
Oh, yeah,
Like
that's weird.
that's who you want to bring with you, but you don't want to date him.
Mm-hmm.
So TJ tells Joe Bradley what he heard. TJ had already confronted Sally at this point, and she's like, "No, that didn't happen." And TJ's like, "Whatever." So he tells Joe Bradley, and Joe Bradley confronts Sally. She completely denies it. He's like, I'm gonna call Gaston and ask him. And she's like, great, do that. Ask him. Which, like,
Okay,
I
Trevor.
I don't think TJ is like making shit up. I think he did hear that from Gaston. So why would you want him to ask him? Personally.
Yeah, he could
Um
just lie again.
and she then like follows him through the restaurant and into like the back, and he's like, you need to go do your job. Like, you're this is not your spot.
Joe
You need
Bradley,
to be
this is why
outside.
we don't date our employees.
This is why Leva specifically told you you could not date your employees. Also, let's keep in mind, TJ saying this to Mia. Mia is living for it. She says, this is what Joe Bradley gets for the
Mm-hmm.
way he treated me
Mm-hmm.
last year when he first became a manager and he had just been rejected by Maddie, and he made out with me and then told me that I should have been aware that it meant nothing. This is what he gets. This is his karma. So this is now 2 times that he has learned not to be fucking around with his employees,
Mm-hmm.
and he's finding out, and he's still in La La Land. So yeah, so he's like, you should be outside. We're not having this conversation right now. You need to be doing your job. Um, and she's like, well, I don't want to have, like, what? Why did you follow him to the restaurant? I don't want to have this conversation right now anyway in front of the cameras.
We know her.
Up to her old tricks again. That's that's how she spent no more than 5 minutes on my TV during Bachelor in Paradise.
That's how we talked more about her fucking luggage than her on Bachelor in Paradise.
Like, literally, Sally, stop going on TV shows.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, she got that job because she wanted to be on reality TV again. Just didn't want to date on reality TV, which, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Here she is dating on reality TV. 2 people, like she's the Bachelorette or something. Um, like, stop going on TV shows. Don't work there. Pick any other restaurant in downtown Charleston. There are plenty.
You can fuck people and not have to talk about it on camera.
My favorite part though was after Joe Bradley tells Sally to go do her job, he just leaves the restaurant and walks off down the street.
Nice.
What? These people
That's
are crazy.
This whole combination is gonna go over really well with Leva, my friend.
Yeah, that was like, I think, like the bulk of the show, but we do get a couple of like fun little snippets. So, first one, I truly thought there was nothing in the world that could make me less interested in seeing O'Sheen shoot his OnlyFans pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But there is apparently one thing, and it's seeing him pour gallons of milk all over himself.
Yeah, very strange.
Um, his account is called The Milkman, and he charges $19.69 because it was the summer of love. Barf. He also like goes into this like what I think he thinks is like a meaningful story behind the milkman and talking about how he wants to play rugby so badly. He's always wanted to play rugby, and so he always had to drink milk because he had to bulk up, and he would drink like gallons of milk a day. And then he found out that milk was sexy because he had a threesome and he refused to do it until he had some milk, which I don't even know what that means.
Like perform like it's a rugby game.
He was like, I gotta bulk up for this. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, that's the only way I felt comfortable was if there was milk. Like, what?
And those people still.
And also, like, that's how you found out that milk was sexy. Like, you're like, Now that I think about it, it was awful. And then Maddie had her little like DJ gig. I guess it wasn't little. Had her DJ gig with James Kennedy, and it was so cute watching him be like a mentor. Like he was like, "Oh, come sign these shirts." Like I remember, like he's like, "You're DJing too, so like you should be signing shirts too. Like they're coming to see you too." And he's like, "I remember like when I went like for my first DJ shows, like I loved like feeling as important as everyone else there." And she was like, he's really cool. I didn't expect him to be so like blah, 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 when he talks. And I looked at my husband and I said, she didn't. Why did you not expect that?
Yeah.
Of course he was. That's how he always talks. But while she is gone, Emmy gets to practice being a manager. It's like it hasn't been like said until this episode, but it's pretty clear that Emmy wants to be a manager, that she thinks Maddie's a bad manager and that she wants to take over that role. And so she's like, I feel like I've been doing this job for weeks, and she did really good. And Leva was like,
she's the best employee there.
Leva tells her like,
I hate Emmy.
For why?
I hate her.
What did she do?
I just think she's so fucking annoying, dude.
I like Emmy. Well, I think she's right about a lot of things. Like when she like makes comments about Maddie, I'm like, no, she's right. Like Emmy should be manager over Maddie at this point in time. Like the way that Maddie is like putting Trevor over her managerial. She like when she met James Kennedy, she was like, I run a nightclub, and he was like, wow. I was like, I don't know if it is actually the way that you're framing it.
Yeah. I don't mind Emmy at work. I just think she's annoying. I think the law school get me a ring thing is annoying. Mm-hmm. I think like I'm not making a big deal about O'Sheen slapping my ass, but I just think it'll be hot to see Will handle it. Mm-hmm. It's annoying. I think she's annoying.
But I do think she did good. Yeah, she did good. Leva was like, okay, I'm leaving for the night. Like, can I trust? Like, you got this? And she's like, yeah, I can handle it. She's like, I know you can. Like, I trust you. You're doing great so far. And like, I think that it's great. But I also, at some point, have to wonder how many managers does this nightclub need? Because last season we started with one. And then Joe Bradley was like, I want to be a manager. And they were like, yeah.
It seemed
he wanted to be something else.
Yeah, he already was a manager. But I think it's different because Maddie's like the VIP manager. So I wondered if Joe was.
Well, that's like what Joe Bradley's like title on the show says now. Like, when they show them and they say their name and then their job, his says VIP manager. But I remember last season that when he went to them, he wanted to be doing like marketing and like
she said like director of sales or
right,
something.
Like sales and stuff. Like that's what he was more interested in. But that's when she told him you can't date your employees. Yeah. And so like I think he was at least on some level lower than Maddie.
Yeah.
Before, but so now I'm like, how? And Leva has even stepped down to whoever, I can't remember her name, the new like CEO lady.
Yeah.
And so like how many managers do you need?
Yeah.
But I also think that like we know that this isn't what Maddie wants to do
Mhm.
for much longer. She wants to like DJ and like she's making her way there. So I guess like it's good to be proactive and like have
Mhm.
someone in mind, but I just don't really see why we need to make Emmy a manager on top
Yeah.
of everyone else being a manager.
Yeah.
But
Woo!
we did it.
We did it.
It's a big week on Bravo.
Yeah. 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 Alrighty. Well, we'll be back Friday.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.